Good evening, you are watching me live from London. I am sitting here in the Greenwich University campus, which is a beautiful place. But the reason I am sitting in a university campus is because I wanted to talk about student politics and especially Bangladesh. Now, anybody who is keeping an eye on what is happening in Bangladesh would know that last Sunday, 2 students were killed. They were run over by a bus, which has led to massive protest on the roads in Dhaka. People are out there in hundreds and thousands protesting against their own government. And especially students are very active in student politics in Bangladesh. They are very active against raising their voice against their own government. And I wanted to understand what is happening in Bangladesh at this point. Why so much of enrage? I mean, nobody can undermine the fact that if a person has lost his or her own life, it is very unfortunate. But the student politics in Bangladesh is on a different level. It has always been on a different level, and it is very different from the rest of the world in many ways. We will talk about it. Now, the man who is joining me, who is sitting next to me, is Hazaz Ahmed Ayoun. I hope I have pronounced your name correctly. And he is a student in London, but he comes from an illustrious political family in Bangladesh. He's very active. He has been very active in politics in Bangladesh, student politics. And his plans after completing his studies in London is to go back and contribute to student politics in his country. But right now our focus is what is happening in Bangladesh, why are people enraged, and what has made students to come out on the streets and vandalize. So Hazaz, welcome to this live podcast.
Thank you, Alish.
So what is happening there? Why are people so enraged? Why are students angry in your country?
First of all, it is not about they are angry. I wouldn't say that. I would say that they have been careful enough to care for their life. That's how I would say it, because 3 students ran over by a bus, and the next day 1 other girl was found dead on the street who was run by a truck as well. But this was not something that instigated the outrage in the students of Bangladesh. It eventually sparked them to come on the street and to take the lead in the streets and to have the protest against few of the personalities, political phenomena, against few of the political phenomena in Bangladesh. Because the transport minister, when he was asked about the killing of the students on the streets, you can watch the video, it is available on the internet. He was all smiling and he was saying that government cannot guarantee the lives on the streets. Well, law will have its course, that is what he has been saying. And then again, I should tell you about him as well. He is the one who has been the transport labor's leader for around 25 to 30 years now. If you look at the Transport Association of Bangladesh, all the people, the regional leaders, the national leaders, they have been ruling it for around 25 to 30 years. And then again, the syndicate is so strong because they have extreme manpower, they have their own finances, they have their own construction, and they have their own hooligans, I would say, and everything. So this is very strong that government cannot even say anything against them.
But the people who are watching us now would like to understand, after the incident, after this really unfortunate incident, students came out on the streets. It's fine. You have the right to protest, which is good. You should try to shake the government if it is sleeping, and especially when it comes to the lives of young, innocent people. What I'm trying to understand is, your Home Minister did a press conference and said that the student delegation met him and he's ready to accept whatever the demands of the student delegation was. My problem is, why then go out on the street and burn the shops and burn the vehicles and make everything to come to a standstill?
No, they haven't burned down any shops.
Well, there are certainly pictures.
No, they haven't burned down any shops. They have burned down the unfit vehicles on the street. It is happening this way, like the unfit vehicles, they are not supposed to be on the streets. The government should have burned down.
I think they are doing a very social
doing
work.
A good job. Yeah, I'm taking their side, and I'm directly taking their side because what they are doing now, the government should have done it 10 years ago. When there were unfit buses, unfit trucks, and unfit vehicles on the streets whose brakes are not working, and they are all just running over people and running over the places all around, and they have no control over the buses. The drivers can barely have their driving license.
Hazaz, are you seriously saying and suggesting, and I think the people watching out there would be shocked to listen to this, are you suggesting, Hazaz, that if you have old buses and old vehicles in your country, they should be burned down?
No, I'm not saying
that's the way to get rid of them.
Of course, the situation has become like this. because
There's no other way to dismantle them. Just burn them down.
Of course, you have to have your responsible politicians, responsible guardians to handle it in a mature way. But are they doing it? Have they been doing it? No, not at all. Awami League has been in power for last around 10 years while giving no election or elections, so-called election under their own authority. So Awami League has become the ruling party has become has earned the authoritarian characteristics under the democratic constitution, and that's how they are running the country. So then again, when the transport minister, when the home minister, when the general secretary to Awami League, he comes in front of the national television and he says that we are looking into the matter, while having a smile on his face, or while not giving any damn to it, and just saying that okay, the government will be looking into the matter, and this is something happening. And then again, they weren't burning down the unfit buses. This isn't started like this. They were doing a non-violent protest. They didn't burn down anything. They just blocked the streets, and they were letting the ambulances and the emergency vehicles pass only. What happened afterwards? Police started beating them. The Rapid Action Battalion team, they started vandalizing the students. They hit their charges, fired rubber bullets, fired tear shells. They smashed their heads. They had their blood out. They had their blood coming out. They were just 12 to 13-year-old kids, in their school dresses, and police are grabbing them by their collar. I mean, if you are trying to be violent, if government is trying to be violent with their police and RAB and this, then the people are the ultimate rulers of the nation. No?
I do understand, but what I'm trying to understand is why when it comes to student politics in our country, there's so much of violence. I mean, people are killed, students are killed every year. I was reading a report which says, and this is really shocking, folks. I mean, this is really shocking. I was reading a report about Bangladesh which says each year you would have 2 student politicians killed in Dhaka only, which is the capital, if I'm not wrong, right? So in the national capital of a country, if you have 2 students every year losing their lives just because they are a part of active politics in this country, there must be something wrong. I want to understand, Hazaz, from you, that why is there so much violence in your country when it comes to student politics?
Violence, let me tell you something, Anilesh, that the violence never comes from the ordinary or general students, because they are just studying there. They don't have the manpower, and they cannot afford to do violence on the streets. Violence comes from the student wing of the political parties. They have the arms, they have the measures and all the equipments that are needed to do violence, and then they have the political support. Even police and RAB, they do not look into their matter. They simply avoid it.
Are you saying that the protest that is happening right now in Bangladesh against the death of those 2 people there,
no, it is for
it has to do with a political party?
No, it has nothing to do with the political party. I'm just giving you a specific answer about why student politics turns into a violent mob offense.
Yeah, but in this case, what has happened is there is a clash going on between.
Because the students are, as I said, the students are non-violent. They didn't accept any violent means. Like, let me tell you something. When I was present there and we are doing the bad protest, this is the very first non-violent movement in Bangladesh. We didn't touch anything. We didn't burn down anything. We just simply blocked the streets, and we are sitting there with all the students just to make the government listen to us. Now, let you answer me something, that at which point a guardian lets his kid go out and sit on the street to earn his right?
I want to ask you, that why has it to be every time that a student or the students, when they come on the streets in Bangladesh, they go out of control?
No, they do not go out of the control. They do not go out of the control. When they lose the faith in the government, when the it is the responsibility of the government to keep the students faithful to them, right? When the government loses their faith, government makes them lose their faith, that is the time they come out and grab on the street.
So let's go back to the current case that we were talking about. 2 people have lost their lives. Very unfortunate.
3 people have lost their lives.
3 people, okay, sorry for that. 3 people have lost their lives. Very unfortunate. Now the minister comes forward and he says, okay, it is our responsibility and we agree to whatever questions you have or whatever demands you have. Now tell me, Hazaz, what more do you expect from the government?
He didn't say it first.
Well, there was a press conference where he accepted that we met the student delegation.
He made the press conference later. He made the press conference 2 days after the accident.
Okay, I'm trying to rely on the newspaper
You know?
sources from Bangladesh, and I don't know
So,
whether every
the
organization
transport
there is.
minister, when he was asked about it, he simply asked back the journalist that does it even relate to the issue that he was speaking about. And it is not that, let me tell you something, that it is not new in Bangladesh. We had a very talented film director in Bangladesh, who was the only film director who has been to Cannes, and he has given some beautiful pictures in Bangladesh, in the history of Bangladesh, the Tariq Masood and Mishuk Munir. Mishuk Munir is one of the renowned journalists in Bangladesh. He was working in the Middle East during the Arab Spring too. So they were killed on road accidents. We have number of cases where talented human beings, talented students, or different people. I mean, you are never safe on the streets of Bangladesh, because it is syndicated. The same syndicate who has been running the transport for around 30 years, they are still there, and they are very powerful, very moneyed. The most important thing is that they have their influence over a large number of people, because there are two different parts of the transport politics. One is the labor force, one is the owners force. The owners force care for the labor force, the labor force cares for the owners force. So it is like a very strong syndicate against which even government cannot speak.
It is an ailment. I mean, it is a problem in your country, because I was again watching at reading some statistics which says, per 10,000 vehicles in Bangladesh, you have around 90 accidents in that country, which is a gross figure, which should be worrisome. I don't know which it is, or which concerns the government or the country there, but for anybody who is sitting out of the country would understand that the figures should be a concerning or an alarming figure for the people who are in the government. And that is what makes me ask you this question, that when it comes to lives of the people, why is the government not concerned about trying to build new roads?
The government is concerned about the lives of the people, but then the government first is concerned about their power. Like the second time they have come into power, it was completely illegitimate. Bangladesh, now Awami League, cannot be in power, or wouldn't be in power, if it was a fair election. That's why they didn't give any fair election. The election commission is not fair. The Chief Justice, who spoke against the Awami League and said that this all parliamentary and policy has become corrupted, he was made to leave the country within a week. Now he is in Canada. So the election commission is corrupted. The government has influence over the election commission. The government has influence over the legislative body, over the High Court, over the Supreme Court, and what else do we want? So who is going to speak against the government? So government is, of course. If I speak about the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, she is the only person who is trying to uplift the country, who is trying to work for the country. But then again, look at his ministry. Look at the people sitting around her. Three of the ministers and state ministers are from Transport Association. So they are very powerful.
That takes us back to the question of student politics, because I want to discuss exclusively student politics, because we know that we have thousands of problems in Bangladesh, as in any country in the world which is a developing nation. Then, because I was reading about student politics in your country, and it says that there is no organization, there is no student organization in your country which can be expected to be free from the clutches of those people running political powers. They are nothing but an extended version or extended wing of national politics. Is that the problem, that you don't have a fair and proper student organization? Because each student wing is related to the national political party, and therefore rivalry. Is that a problem in your country?
Yeah, that is a big problem in my country.
So what is these two? So is there no hope for having a proper student union in your country?
Of course there is. It is growing. Like we launched a student organization which was unofficial, because we weren't given the authorization during the VAT protest, no VAT on education protest a few years back. Then again we did another protest, and so we have been very active in student politics. We have our own organization, but then again it hasn't been authorized by the government or by any other by any other officials.
But does it require to be authorized?
Of course. I mean, not getting on the streets and blocking the vehicles. It doesn't require you to have any authority or any official signature or something.
But let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
For somebody, imagine if you
Yeah.
were not the son of a politician in Bangladesh. You are somebody of commoner.
I wouldn't like to get known by the as a son.
I'm saying, imagine. I'm not saying that you are known in Bangladesh just because you were son of your father.
No.
I'm saying
No,
if you are
I'm not
somebody.
in Bangladesh just because of myself.
No, that's very good.
Yeah,
I'm
thank
saying, imagine yourself. I mean, for a couple of seconds, if you can leave your identity, which if you like or not, you are the son of a
Yeah, of
politician
course,
from
yeah.
Bangladesh,
Yeah.
which is the reality we cannot get rid of.
Yeah.
Imagine yourself as a common student who wants to bring changes in the society, in your country.
I
and
am
who-
a communist student.
Okay, fair enough. I get your point. But imagine yourself, delineate yourself for a couple of
No,
seconds
I don't
from...
have to imagine about that because I myself am a communist student.
Okay, I'm saying that imagine yourself not coming from the background that you come from.
Okay.
Would you be able to accept it? Or is it too bad for you to be known by the name of your father? Are you saying that?
No, it's not like that. Of course, my father has had his ideologies and he has built his name on that.
Okay, imagine yourself as a common student
Yeah, I
for
am
a
a
couple of
common
seconds.
student.
For a couple of seconds,
I am a
if
common
you can
student,
leave your identity
I am a
of the
communist
family.
student.
Yeah, but if you can...
I have left the identity of my family.
that is fine. So you are no more in touch with your family, you're saying.
Of course, I am in touch with my
You don't
family,
want to
but
be
that doesn't
recognized.
affect my political phenomenon. That doesn't affect my political ideology.
Yeah, but it certainly has a leverage, Hazard.
Of course
Whether
it
you
has.
like it or not, that's what I'm.
Of course it
That's
has.
my question is all
but
about.
that never paid me off anything.
You have to ask your father about it,
No,
why
no,
it has
not
not
at all.
paid.
I
I'm not
don't
the one
have
who can
to.
answer. But what I'm trying to ask you is,
Yeah.
if you are a common student,
Yeah, of course.
and
I am a common student.
No,
I
you're
will
not.
tell you it again.
No, you're not.
I am
Because
a
the
common
background that
student.
you come from,
Yeah, I know. The
you have
background
a
never mattered
special
in my
background.
case.
Well, how it mattered or not is a different case.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, since you don't come from a background which is a commoner background, you don't know the facilities
Okay, get to the
that
question,
you
okay,
got.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That
Yeah.
imagine yourself as a common
Okay,
student,
yeah.
right, on the streets of Bangladesh, who wants to bring changes in the society, not having a father like you have, or not having the powers that he has. Would he be able to do anything? Would he be able to form his organization and have an impact on the society the way he wants to? Or is it necessary for him or her to go to the political parties of your country, do a kneel down and say, we need your help to be heard in this country? How does it work?
What you were saying is that you're probably assuming because I come from a political family and is pretty well known in Bangladesh that I have had support and help from my
No,
father.
I'm not saying that.
No,
I'm saying how
I
easy
said
it is.
that you,
How
I
is it or
didn't say
difficult?
that you said it. I said that probably you were assuming.
I'm not.
And it's very natural. But it is what is unnatural is that if you don't assume it. Okay. So the thing is that of course it is possible because let me tell you something. What you were saying, if someone wants to bring the change in Bangladesh or in any part of
Student
the world, in
politics.
student politics, yeah? So he wants to bring the revolution in the country, right? And the revolution.
And I think revolution is a huge word. Say a minor change, I would say. I'm not
Minor change,
overly optimistic about student politics
Yeah,
in
I
the
know. The
country.
thing is that change never comes in any shape, whether you assume it as minor or as major. Change is change, and it is always difficult to change something if you want.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that the student politics would completely revolutionize the sort of economy of the country in 2 months. I'm
No,
saying
student politics actually revolutionized the 1971 war of Bangladesh. If Bangladesh today exists, it is because of the student
I
politics.
know the history of your
No.
country when it was
So-
East Pakistan,
Yeah,
but
well,
what I'm trying to say is, how is it easy or difficult
It is
for
difficult.
a
Nothing
common
is easy.
person,
It
for a
is-
common person to
whether,
step into student
whether
politics?
it is for a common person or whether it is for a politician's son, it is difficult because even if your father is in politics, definitely he is in power. Definitely he has his money and everything, and he won't be supporting you to go on the streets to have your own political agenda or your own political organization. He will do his best to keep you inside the home. Because you are eventually going to be in his position. So why would he send you to be in risk? No. So if you come from a political family, so first you have to think that I have to come out of my home and whatever I want to do here, I have to do it on my own guts.
Yeah, but my question is about a non-political family.
Yeah.
How difficult it is.
It
or
is
how
difficult
is
for
it?
both. Why you are just separating from common for a common student and from a free student from political family?
Yeah,
you have to
because even if you
no.
accept it or not, the reality is that if you come from a background which is powerful, you have leverage over common students. There
Of
is-
course,
That's exactly the point.
Of course,
I'm trying to understand if the student politics in your country really wishes to do something good. And the reason that I'm asking is because you yourself said how good or how powerful student politics has been in your country. You know,
Yeah,
from
I wouldn't say the
1971.
student politics because fighting for your life, protesting for your life, for your right isn't politics. Protesting for your right is a right itself. Politics is when you are just you are just going through the process, like you have to have the votes, you have to fight in the elections and everything. No, we are not doing it. We are just.
So what is the student politics doing in your
It
country?
is not student politics. I'm saying you again. It is a righteous movement for the rights. It is
Associated
a-
with political parties.
No, the,
Is
if
it
you
not a
speak-
dichotomy?
If you speak about the student wings connected with the political parties, this is a different thing. They don't have any politics. They are just, let me tell you something, they are just a bunch of idiots who are following the seniors because they have to be in power. They have to come in power. That's how I say them, even whenever I am speaking to them. The only thing that they say, that they see, is to be in the position, like to hold a position in the political party. That's how they see themselves. But one thing I always say that you don't have to be in any position to hold your power. You can be powerful, and in the meantime, you can leave your position for someone else.
So what are you planning to do, Hazaz? For example, let's go back to the question. Let's go back to the incident that happened
Yeah.
a couple of days ago. What are you going to do about it? Do you have any
Uh,
plans? Because
of
you have
course.
been active there in Bangladesh.
Yeah, I'm going to Bangladesh this next month, in August, and I will try to speak to many of the people who are concerned and who are directly or indirectly involved in this. So I have to speak to them.
And what are you expecting from that?
I do not expect anything from anybody. The thing is that I just want the government to be a bit sensible and not involve the police and RAB in a how to say it in a violent way on the students. I mean, these are just kids.
So what are the solutions, do you think?
The solution, they have to find out the solution. We will just offer them that. We
And
will
it-
just offer them the solutions, and they have to see that how, to what extent they can apply it to the society.
But
Because as per the solution, it involves the transport association. Even the government is incapable of doing something against them. This is the harsh reality.
So the government is not interested in
Of
making
course, the
sure that
government
people
is very
safe.
interested, but we have to know that what their agenda is, what procedure they would follow.
And is it Hazard, is it with every government or any particular government? I mean, I
Every
don't know
government.
much about the
Every
people
government.
people
Every
ruling
government.
there.
Let me tell you something. In Bangladesh, two sectors are the most powerful. One is the garment sector, and another is the transport sector. And the reason behind it is because both of the sectors have laborers, a huge number of laborers who are not afraid of losing anything, who mostly don't have anything to lose.
By the way, your country has left India behind in garment export.
Yeah, I know.
So congratulations for that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
for
we'll
that.
continue.
So, as because of the manpower, extreme manpower in these two organizations, they can shut down the streets, they can shut down any part of the country anytime they want. So that's why the government even doesn't fight against or how to say it, just doesn't mess with the regional leader of transport association, let alone the national leader.
So what is the benefit? How would it benefit the political parties of your country to make sure that the problem continues and to make sure that the student politics or whatever terminology you want to use
Yeah.
remains bloody and remains sort of
No,
killing?
the government has to be I know that what the government did in the very first step, like going on them violently, the police firing at them, firing rubber bullets and tear cells and all this stuff. Government is already regretting it. I mean, at the very first place, they shouldn't have done it. And the election is coming in January in 2019. So the government won't do any further stupidity, I guess. And what the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, as she is not alone, she has her, she has her flatterers and political personalities around her as well. So I hope that they become a bit sensible and they handle the issue with logically. So
So people like me who have never been to Bangladesh,
yeah.
do you think we should expect anything from student politics in your country in future to be a little bit
Yeah.
less bloody and moving in the right direction, considering its
I
active
don't know
role
why
in
you
the
were saying
creation
it.
of a
I don't
country?
know why you were saying
I'm just
it's
trying to
bloody.
understand.
I don't know why
Because
you
people are killed, students are killed. I'm not saying the students are killing themselves. Hang on, let me complete
Students
that.
are killed.
Yeah,
They
I'm
are the victims.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So the
I'm
bloody
saying,
is from the side of the government,
yeah,
not from the side
I'm
of the
not speaking
students.
for your government for sure.
Yeah.
I'm saying, regardless of whoever is responsible,
Yeah.
students are getting killed.
Yeah.
And that should be a matter of concern.
Of
Like
course.
2 students every year in Dhaka. I mean, that would be shocking. I mean, I had no idea about it. And just in the course of research, I found that 2 young students are killed every year. And just because they have a
Only
certain...
2?
In Dhaka. That was
Only
in
two-
Dhaka. Well, that's what the report says of your
I don't
country.
know.
I
Who
am
did the
not
report?
speaking for the
Only
media
two.
organizations of Bangladesh. I
No.
don't know whether do they,
Only-
whether
I
they
guess-
do.
I guess it
okay,
was
so let me,
weekly.
let me ask you a question. Do they do their research properly? I have no idea about the media organizations
No,
in
the
your country.
researchers, most of the researchers are biased.
So do you think the numbers could be much more than 2 deaths in
There
the country.
could be no. There must be much more. I mean, two students are killed every 1 week. That's how the ratio should come, you know.
Okay, I mean, I don't
Because
speak
few days
without,
back, let me tell you something
I
very
would
interesting.
Not, okay, go ahead, but I would not make any random
I know, I
allegation
know, I know,
without
I know.
having any facts in my hand. Go ahead.
I'm not charging you for anything here. The thing is that few days back, a student of Jagannath University who led in the Kota reformation movement, which was then against the government's policy. Found dead. His dead body was found in the Buriganga river. And when our home minister was asked about it, he said that probably he has failed in love and he committed suicide. He is a home minister. And after that he is just making a random statement like this, that this guy might have failed in love and he has committed suicide.
Very philosophical answer there.
So it is not the students. I wouldn't say that it's the politics. The students are on the streets only when their back is against the wall. That is the time they are on the streets. Otherwise, nobody has so much. How to say it? Nobody cannot afford to be on the streets, demolishing or avoiding their studies, because we all have to be something through the process of education, right? So nobody wants to do that. But they are on the streets only when their back is against the wall. There is no responsible or proper guardian who they can complain to, or when they're absolutely helpless. And trust me that whenever the students who are doing any protest or doing the movements against the government, they are very helpless, because at one point their fellow students who have joined the student wings of the political parties, they are against them. They just try to threaten them. They just try to make them nervous and fear them at any cost possible.
Okay, let me ask.
Then again, the government is against them. The police, the RAB, they are all against them.
Okay, let me ask you to conclude this, because I'm not sure people are any more interested in listening to us, because we have already discussed a lot.
Yeah.
But because you have studied in London, is there anything that you would take away to your own country and apply into student politics there?
Of course, their research and their privilege, the privilege they have been given in the research areas, that is something I would like to adopt in Bangladesh.
So you think that you want the student politics in your country to be much more responsible, much more prepared?
Of course, yeah.
That's a good note, I think, to end this discussion on. Student politics, undoubtedly, I mean, even I want my country to have active student politics, which we have. I mean, but the problem or the similarity in fact, Hazad, this is interesting, because we too in India have very active student politics. Unfortunately, the parallels that I can draw between your country and my country is the student politics, again, is nothing more than a wing of the political parties in our country. And that is where the problem starts. So the moment you sort of incline towards any particular ideology, and especially if it is a ruling party or opposition, you tend to believe that whatever you are thinking in that capacity of being a part of a political party's ideology, it is good for the country.
Yeah,
and
then again,
that's when the violence starts.
Yeah, but if I speak frankly about the political parties, you have to. I don't think that they're based upon any ideologies anymore. I mean, they just want to be in power. The ultimate aim for a political party is to be in power.
That could be an ideology, isn't it?
Yeah.
That could also be a definition.
Yeah, ironically, we have to term it as an ideology.
Okay. Thank you, Hazad. It was
Thank
a
you
pleasure,
so much,
right?
Nilesh.
You want to shake hands?
Yeah,
India,
of course.
Bangladesh. I'm so glad that at this moment came.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So this is a small attempt to understand what's happening in Bangladesh, and through young and fresh voices like Hazaz, because you can understand, I mean, we can get any politician to talk about issues, but the problem with politicians is they sound too politically correct, and we wanted to have an unredacted information as to what is happening in Bangladesh. So we'll keep trying to have people from different spectrums of the society, different parts of the world, to make you aware and myself aware as well as to what is happening around. So thank you so much for watching. We'll get back to you again. Thank you.